Chapter 5, The Truth. Dog fighting, Nadine cried. Since how long? Shh, both boys whispered harshly. Then Martin continued. The first time for me was about 4 months ago. He said he needed a hand getting some bobby calves from a bloke he knew. Martin picked at his fingernails. I guess he took me 'cause I'm the eldest. What happened? Nadine asked, still trying to imagine what her brother had seen and done these last months. We drove for ages down heaps of roads. Then we came to a gate into a paddock, and Ted gave me a key to unlock the padlock. We drove through, locked the gate after us, and followed this rough track. It's one of the Department of Conservation access roads, but Ted said they don't use it anymore. Anyway, it went through some bush, up and down some hills, and then we came to this place. He stopped, and Nadine watched his face intently. Then, she prompted. There were already cars and trucks there, and some guys standing around yakking. There were dogs in pens, and also this kind of low pen, like what we have for the lambs, but wider. Anyway, once Ted arrived, the others got going, and 2 dogs were put into the ring. What for? Nadine asked, feeling stupid that she didn't really understand yet. To fight, of course, and they did. It lasted about 4 minutes. It was the worst thing I've ever seen. Even worse than when we saw that splatter movie, remember, Daniel? Daniel nodded. I had bad dreams about that for ages, but this was so horrible. The noise and the smell. This brown dog, he was smaller, but was he vicious. He just went straight to the other dog's throat and didn't let go. There was blood everywhere. That's awful, Nadine offered. Did they fix the dog up? No, stupid, Martin said harshly. It died. They all die. That's the whole point. Oh. And now it's got bigger, he continued. When I first went, there were only about 4 guys. Now there's heaps more. He turned to Daniel. How many yesterday? Daniel shrugged. Too many. Most I've seen ever. Lots of dogs too. How many did you bring back? Nadine looked at Martin again. Bring back what? Do they swap dogs or something? Martin shook his head at her and then looked back at Daniel. How many? He asked again. 5. Bastards, Martin cried. Sick bastards. What are you guys talking about? 5 what? 5 what? Nadine whacked the blankets with her hand. Daniel took a deep breath and began. It's become Ted's job to get rid of the dead dogs. We had to take 5 home last night. He dumps them in the bush by the hay barn paddock, by where you left the gate open. Nadine's mind began making connections. The skull. Yesterday, Hawkeye found a skull, and I didn't know what it was. She got out of bed and went to her cupboard. She pulled the skull out of a box and held it up to the boys. Martin jumped up. What are you doing with that? He grabbed it off her. Daniel, get rid of it. He gave it to his brother. What's the fuss? It's just one. Nadine's voice trailed off when she saw the look in Martin's eyes. If he knew you had this, then he'd know you'd been down there. Why do you think he was spewing mad yesterday? He couldn't give a stuff about the cattle. He just doesn't want anyone to find his sick little burial site. Nadine sat back in her bed thinking. The only noise was the sound of her brother's breathing. Finally she asked, where do the dogs come from? You know, the ones for the fights. Ted said that most of them are strays or impounded dogs. Guys pick them up and train them to fight and stuff. Daniel turned the skull over and over in his hands. Some guys are real serious and bring in dogs from the gang houses in town. Or buy them from breeders, Martin added. Their sister was shaking her head. I don't get it though. Why do they make the dogs fight? Why do they like it? Because they bet on who's going to win, said Martin. He looked at his brother. I suppose he lost heaps as well. Daniel nodded. Yeah, about $400, I think. Martin whistled. No wonder he was so shitty. But Nadine was making her own connections. Hawkeye, she began, tears welling in her eyes. Hawkeye's gone to one of these guys? Martin shrugged. Guess so, he's about the right size. But he's not mean, Nadine cried. He wouldn't know what to do. Ted says that all dogs have it in them. They just need the right sort of training. What sort of training? Lots of time they take them on pig hunts, Daniel began, but stopped when he saw Nadine's expression. It might not be what's going to happen to Hawkeye. Nadine got out of bed again. But we have to get him back, just in case. She began pulling on socks. If you find out where this guy lives, I can ask Ma to take me there. I'll tell her I need to get something off a girl from school. Martin stood up. Let it go, Nadine. You can't do anything about this. Yes, I can. I'll go ask Ted if Hawkeye's going to be a fighting dog. No, Daniel cried. You can't let him know you know. He'll give us both a massive hiding for telling. She stopped dressing. Why? So what if I know? Lots of people must. That's the whole point, Martin explained. It's all a secret. I don't care. I'm still going to ask him. Daniel grabbed her arm. You can't. You hear us. You can't because it's illegal. And if word gets out and those guys know it's you, they'll come and get you and us and Ma, and they won't care that you're a girl and Ma's a woman. They'll get us, you hear? Daniel was crying again and he was holding her arm. His fingers had begun to dig into her flesh. Let me go, she demanded, trying to pull away. Daniel, let me go. Not until you swear that you won't tell anyone, he demanded. Martin stepped in. Enough, Daniel, let her go. Daniel reluctantly let go of Nadine's arm. She scowled at her brother and rubbed the mad red mark which he'd made on her skin. I won't tell, but you can't stop me from finding Hawkeye, she challenged them both. Either you help me or you stay out of my way. Daniel put his hands in his pockets and looked down at his shoes. Martin sighed heavily and nodded. Okay, we'll help. Daniel's head jerked up. Yes, Daniel, we are going to help. It's that or let her blow everything out of the water. If Ted finds out, Daniel didn't need to finish the sentence. We'll make sure he doesn't. Martin looked seriously at Nadine. You are going to have to be really, really careful, okay? Nadine nodded. All right, let's work out how we're going to get that stupid dog of yours back. And then, when we've got him back, where we keep him. The three of them sat back down on Nadine's bed and, in furtive whispers, began to hatch a plan to save Hawkeye.